Hello and welcome to this video where I translate the text of Act 3 Scene 5 in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet into modern language. Everything you see on the screen comes from my ebook. Pick up a copy by following the links in the description. So Act 3 Scene 5 then is where we're up to, and in Act 3 Scene 5 it takes place in Capulet's orchard, and this is quite a big scene and a lot happens. It starts off with Romeo and Juliet together. And Juliet, we get the idea that Romeo has spent the night, he's had sex with Juliet, and he's got to leave, of course, because he's banished from the city. He's got to leave before it gets too light, else he won't be, else he'll be in big trouble. He'll be killed. So he's on his way out. And Juliet says, "Will thou be gone? It's not yet near day. It is not yet. Will thou be gone? It is not yet near day. It was the nightingale, and not the lark, that pierced the fearful hollow of thine ear. Nightly she sings on yon pomegranate tree. Believe me, love, it was the nightingale." So in other words, are you going? That bird that we heard was a bird of the night, not a bird of the morning. I promise you it's still night time, it's not morning, you don't need to go yet. So Juliet wants Romeo to stay. And then Romeo replies with, "It was the lark, the herald of the morn. No nightingale, look, love, what envious streaks do lace the severing clouds in yonder east." In other words, look, it was the lark, it was the bird that sings and signals the morning is coming, not the nightingale. Look, love, the sun is coming through the clouds, morning is arriving. Night's candles are burnt out, and jocund day stands tiptoe on the misty mountain tops. I must be gone and live, or stay and die. So basically he says, look, the night's going, the day is coming, and if I don't go, I'm dead. And Juliet says, yon light is not daylight, I know it, it is some meteor the sun exhales to be thee this night a torch-bearer, and light thee on thy way to Mantua. Therefore stay yet, thou needest not be gone. So basically saying, that light is not daylight. I know it's not. It's a meteor coming out of the sun, which is going to be a light to guide you on your way to Mantua. So stay a bit, you don't need to go. Now I analysed this speech in my ebook in a way that I'm not doing on video, so please do pick up a copy. That's an ebook exclusive analysis of this piece. Romeo says, "Let me be taken, let me be put to death, I am content, so that thou will have it so. I'll say yon grey is not the morning's eyes, 'tis but the pale reflex of Cynthia's brow. Nor that is not the lark." So Romeo says, look, I don't mind being captured and killed. I'm happy if that's what you want. I'll stay here and pretend it's not the morning. I'll just pretend that that's just the reflection of the moon, not the sun. And I'll pretend that the bird I can hear is not the bird of the morning. The vaulty heavens so high above our heads, I have more care to stay than will to go. Come death and welcome Juliet, wills it so. How is it, my soul? Let's talk. It is not day. So he's basically saying, look, I want to stay more than I want to go. And if you want me to die, I'm quite happy to die. So Juliet basically says, I don't want you to go. And he says, all right, I won't go. And then she says, oh no, I do want you to go. So Juliet says, it is, hie hence, be gone away. It is the lark that sings so out of tune, straining harsh discords and unpleasing sharps. Some say the lark makes sweet division, this doth not so, for she divideth us. Some say the lark and loathed toad change eyes. Oh, now I would they've changed voices too, since arm from arm that voice doth us affray. So basically she's saying, look, it is the morning bird, you need to go. Some people like the lark, but I don't like it because it's splitting us up. Some say the lark and the toad change eyes, and that's an old fairy tale. Oh, I wish they had changed voices too, since that voice does split us up. Hunting thee hence with hunts up, so the men will be hunting soon. To the day, oh now be gone, more light and light it grows. So she's saying, look, just go. Romeo says, more light and light, more dark and dark our woes. So it's getting lighter in here. That means our troubles are getting darker. Then the nurse walks in. Madam. Juliet says, nurse? Your lady mother is coming to your chamber. The day is broke. Be wary. Look about. So your mum's come in. It's morning. Romeo needs to go. Julio says, then window, let day in and let life out. So the window is letting day in through the sunshine and life out through Romeo. Romeo says, farewell, farewell, one kiss and I'll descend. So give me one last kiss and I'll go. And then he climbs down the rope ladder. So he's leaving. And as he leaves, Juliet says, "Art thou gone so? Love, lord, I, husband, friend, I must hear from thee every day and hour, for in a minute there are many days. Oh, by this count I shall be much in years, ere again I behold my Romeo." So she's saying, make sure I hear from you regularly, because I'm going to really miss you. And Romeo says, "Farewell, I will omit no opportunity that may convey my greetings, love, to thee." So he's saying goodbye, and I will, every time I can, I will write to you. Juliet says, "Oh, thinkest thou we shall ever meet again? Do you think we'll ever see each other again?" And Romeo says, "I doubt it not, and all these woes shall serve for sweet discourses in our time to come." He said, "I'm sure we will meet again, and I'm sure we'll look back on this difficult time and laugh and think, oh, it was just something we went through." Juliet, as she looks down at Romeo climbing down below her, says, "Oh God, I have an ill-divining soul, so I think I can see into the future. Methinks I see thee, so I think I can see Romeo, now thou art below, as one dead in the bottom of a tomb. Either my eyesight fails, or thou look pale." So this is foreshadowing, I think I can see into the future that you're going to be lying dead. Romeo says, "Untrust me, love, in my eye, so do you. Dry sorrow drinks our blood, adieu, adieu." So he's saying, look, we both look pale because we're sad. We're just sad, and that makes us pale. Goodbye. Juliet says, "O fortune, fortune, all men call thee fickle. If thou art fickle, what dost thou with him that is renowned for faith? Be fickle, fortune, for then I hope thou wilt not keep him long, but send him back." So she's talking to luck and saying, you can't make your mind up, people say, and if that's true, do that here and don't keep Romeo long. Let me have him back soon. And then Lady Capulet appears. "Ho, daughter, are you up?" So, Juliet, are you up? Are you awake? And Juliet says, "Who is it that calls? Is it my lady mother? Is she not down so late or up so early? What unaccustomed cause procures her hither? So this is a funny time to be getting up, or have you not even gone to bed? And why are you here?" And Lady Capulet says, "Why, how now, Juliet? What's happening?" And Juliet says, "Madam, I am not well." So she pretends she's poorly. And Lady Capulet says, "Evermore weeping for your cousin's death? What, wilt thou wash him from his grave with tears? And if thou couldst not make him live. Therefore have done. Some grief shows much of love, but much of grief shows still some want of wit." So are you still crying about Tybalt's death? Look, you've got to get over it. Crying isn't going to make him come back. And even if you could make him come back, it wouldn't happen. It's fine to be upset when someone dies, but if you're upset for too long, you look a bit stupid. "Yet let me weep for such a feeling loss," says Juliet. I want to cry, I've got a loss. Now, Juliet is talking about Romeo. She's not upset about Tybalt so much as Romeo, but obviously can't say it. And here we have a clever little bit of wordplay between Juliet and her mum, where Juliet talks about Romeo, but acting as if she's talking about the person who killed Tybalt rather than the person she loves. "Feeling so the loss, cannot choose but ever weep the friend. Feeling sad over losing him, I cannot help but cry," says Juliet. Lady Capulet says, "Well, girl, thou weepest not so much for his death as that the villain lives which slaughtered him. So you're not so upset he's dead. You're more upset about the one who killed him," which seems like she's worked out what's going on with Romeo. Juliet says, "What villain, madam? Who do you mean?" Lady Capulet says, "That same villain Romeo." The evil Romeo. And Juliet, as an aside, which means she says it quietly and her mum can't hear, says, "Villain and he be many miles asunder. God pardon him, I do with all my heart, and yet no man like he doth grieve my heart." So basically, he's nothing like a villain. God forgive him. Then she says, "I forgive him completely, and yet no one causes me such unhappiness as him." Lady Capulet says, "That is because the traitor murderer lives, so the fact that he's alive is what makes you sad." And Juliet says, "I, madam, for the reach of these my hands, yes, he is beyond my reach. Would none, but I might venge my cousin's death. I would love to gain revenge for Tybalt's death." Lady Capulet says, "We will have vengeance for it, fear thou not. Then weep no more. I'll send to one in Mantua, where that same banished runagate doth live, shall give him some unaccustomed dram, that he soon shall keep Tybalt company, and then I hope thou will be satisfied." So Lady Capulet saying, look, I'm going to send one of my men over to poison his drink, and he will die, and then we'll all be happy. And of course that is foreshadowing what will eventually happen in Act 3, Scene 5. Lots of foreshadowing in this play. All ties into the fact that the theme is fate, everything seems to be hinted at all the time because it's all preordained according to the theory of fate. Juliet says, "Indeed, I never shall be satisfied with Romeo till I behold him dead." So I will never be satisfied with Romeo until I see him dead. And there's a play on the word dead here, which you'll see analysed in my ebook. You can pick it up, link in the description. "Is my poor heart for a kinsman? Dead is how my heart feels," she's saying. And I'm vexed. "Madam, if you could find out but a man to bear a poison, I would temper it, that Romeo should, upon receipt thereof, soon sleep in quiet. Oh, how my heart abhors to hear him named, and cannot come to him, to wreak the love I bore my cousin upon his body that slaughtered him." So she's just being clever here, saying, if you could find a poison for Romeo, I would mix it myself. I hate to hear his name because I can't be with him. And she means because I love him, but she's sort of suggesting to her mum, be with him, to kill him, to take the love I had for Tybalt out upon Romeo's body. Lady Capulet says, "Find thou the means, and I'll find such a man. But now I'll tell thee joyful tidings, girl." So I've got good news for you. And Juliet says, "And joy comes well in such a needy time. What are they, I beseech your ladyship?" So, yeah, I could really do with some good news right now. What is it? Lady Capulet says, well, thou hast a careful father, child. So your dad is very careful. One who, to put thee from thy heaviness, hath sought out a sudden day of joy, that thou expectest not, nor I looked for. So it's basically, she's saying, your dad is trying to make you happy. He's organised something. Juliet's thinking, a bouncy castle? Juliet says, "Madam, in happy time, what day is that? What's been organised?" And Lady Capulet drops the bombshell. "Marry, my child, early next Thursday morn. The gallant young and noble gentleman, the County Paris at St. Peter's Church, shall happily make thee there a joyful bride." So, get married, Juliet, next Thursday to Paris. Juliet says, "Now by St. Peter's Church and Peter too, he shall not make me there a joyful bride. I wonder at this haste that I must wed, ere he that should be husband comes to woo." So she's saying, I'm not going to marry him. I'm confused at how this has been rushed as well, because Paris hasn't even pursued me, hasn't even flirted with me or really spoken to me. "I pray you tell my lord and father, madam." So tell Dad I will not marry yet, and when I do, I swear it shall be Romeo, whom you know I hate, rather than Paris. These are news indeed. So basically, I'm not marrying yet, and when I do, I'd rather marry Romeo, and you know I hate him. Of course, we know she doesn't hate him. Lady Capulet here says, "See how he will take it at your hands." So here comes your dad, you tell him, see how he takes the news. Capulet walks in. "When the sun sets, the air doth drizzle dew, but for the sunset of my brother's son it rained downright. How now, a conduit, girl, what still in tears, evermore showering in one little body thou counterfeit'st a bark, a sea, a wind, for still thy eyes, which I may call the sea, do ebb and flow with tears." So he's saying, when the sun goes down, the mist falls, but when Tybalt died, it poured with rain. Are you still crying, Juliet? You're like a fountain, you're like a ship at sea. Your eyes are the sea, flowing with tears. The bark, which means the ship, thy body is. Sailing in this salt flood, the winds thy sighs, who raging with thy tears, and they with them, with a sudden calm will overset the tempest-tossed body. How now, wife? Have you delivered to her our decree? Now, what he's saying is, you're like a ship sailing in the salty flood of tears. Your sighs are like the winds which push the boat along. If you don't calm down, you're going to wreck yourself. How is it, wife? Have you told her our decision? Now, a decree is like a royal decision. It just shows that they're not asking Juliet's opinion. Does she want to marry Paris? They're telling her. Lady Capulet says, stirring things up, "Ay, sir, but she will have none. She gives you thanks. I would the fool were married to her grave." So I wish Juliet was dead. She isn't interested. Capulet says, "Soft. Take me with you, wife." Hang on a minute. Wait, explain this to me. How will she none? Doth she not give us thanks? Is she not proud? Does she not count her blessed? And worthy as she is that we have wrought so worthy a gentleman to be her bridegroom? So he's saying she refuses. Is she not grateful to us that we have got a man for her who's so amazing? And Juliet says, Not proud you have, but thankful that you have. So what you've done, and thankful that you tried. Proud can I never be of what I hate. But thankful even for hate, that is meant love. So I can't ever be happy with this decision, but I'm grateful that you meant it in a good way. How now, chop logic, what is this? Proud, and I thank you, and I thank you not, yet not proud, mistress minion, you. Thank me no thankings, nor proud me no prouds, but fettle your fine joints gainst Thursday next, to go with Paris to St. Peter's Church, or I will drag thee on a hurdle thither. Out, you green sickness carrion, out, you baggage, you tallow face. So he's saying, what is this riddle? You're talking rubbish. Don't thank me, but get you to church next week, or I'll drag you on a hurdle. Now, a hurdle was something they would drag traitors through the street on. There's more on that in my next video, so do check that out. Get out, you lifeless corpse, you burden, you pale-face. Now, Lady Capulet thinks he's overstepped the mark here and says, Fie, what are you, mad? Are you mad, Capulet? And Juliet says, good father, I beseech you on my knees, I beg you on my knees, hear me with patience but to speak a word. So just listen to me calmly, quietly. But Capulet isn't having any of it. He says, hang thee, young baggage, disobedient wretch, I tell thee what, get thee to church on Thursday, or never after look me in the face. Speak not, reply not, do not answer me. My fingers itch. Wife, we scarce thought us blessed that God had lent us but this only child, but now I see that this is one too much, and we have a curse in having her. Out on her, Hilding. So all this is basically saying, Juliet, you're a worthless burden, you're disobedient, get you to the church or I'll never speak to you again. He's saying, I feel like I want to hit you. Wife, we thought we were blessed just to have one child, but now I can see that even one is too many. She's a curse. She disgusts me. And the nurse says, God in heaven bless her, you are to blame, my lord, to rate her so. So, the nurse is defending Juliet, saying, you're wrong to talk about Juliet like this. And then Capulet's anger and rage turns around and is inflicted on the nurse. And why, my lady wisdom, hold your tongue, good prudence, smatter with your gossips, go. So just shut up, you clever clogs, go and have a yap with your gossip friends. The nurse says, I speak no treason, I don't say anything bad, but the Capulet says, oh God, you goddern, for God's sake. The nurse says, can't I speak? May not one speak? And Capulet says, peace, you mumbling fool, utter your gravity over a gossip's bowl, for here we need it not. I don't want to hear from you. Lady Capulet says, you're too hot, you're too wound up. And Capulet says, God's bread, it makes me mad. Day, night, hour, tide, time, work, play, alone in company. Still my care hath been to have her matched, and having now provided a gentleman of noble parentage, of fair demences, youthful and nobly trained, stuffed, as they say, with honourable parts, proportioned as one would have thought a wise man, and then to have a wretched puling fool, a whining mammet in her fortune's tender, to answer, I'll not wed, I cannot love, I am too young, I pray you pardon me. So basically what he's saying is, I've worked so hard to get a good husband for Juliet, and then I find one who's well respected, good looking, clever, and good man, and then for her to turn around and answer, I'll not marry him, I cannot love, I'm too young, it makes me sick. But as you will not wed, I'll pardon you. So if he says, if you will not marry, I will forgive you. And then it seems like, oh, it's going to be okay. And then he says this, graze where you will, but you shall not house with me. Look to it, think on it, I do not use to jest. Thursday is near, lay hand on heart, advise, and you be mine, I'll give you to my friend, and you be not hang, beg, starve, die in the streets. So basically, you're mine to give. You can eat where you like, but it won't be in this house if you don't marry. Think about it, I'm not joking. Thursday is close, listen to my advice. If you are mine, you are mine, so I can give you to my friend. If you're not mine, then you can go to the streets and die. For by my soul, I'll never acknowledge thee. I will never, ever again acknowledge who you are. Harsh words from Capulet. Nor what is mine shall never do thee good. Trust to it, bethink you, I'll not be forsworn. So not only will I never speak to you, but you'll never have anything of mine, and this is a promise. And off he goes. And Juliet says, is there no pity sitting in the clouds that sees the bottom of my grief? Oh, sweet my mother, cast me not away. Delay this marriage for a month, a week, or if you do not, make the bridal bed in that dim monument where Tybalt lies. So she appeals to her mum for help. She says, look, I'm really sad. Don't abandon me, Mum. Delay the marriage for just a month or even a week. Or if you don't, I'll basically marry death. I'll die. Lady Capulet then replies, talk not to me, for I'll not speak a word. Do as thou will, for I am done with thee. Awful, awful words from Lady Capulet. Basically, I don't want to hear it. You're nothing to me. That will contrast what we see in Act 3, Scene 5, when Juliet does die, and how her mother reacts. Juliet says, "Oh God, oh nurse, how shall this be prevented? My husband is on earth." So basically, she then goes to the nurse and says, "What can I do about this? I have a husband already. My faith in heaven, I've made vows that are holy. I can't break those vows. How shall that faith return again to earth? How can I bring my holy promises back to earth, unless that husband send it me from heaven? By leaving earth, comfort me, counsel me, alack, alack, that heaven should practise stratagems upon so soft a subject as myself. What sayest thou? Hast thou not a word of joy, some comfort, nurse?" So she basically says, unless Romeo dies, and then when dying I'm freed up to marry another, what am I supposed to do? And again, that's foreshadowing. Why is heaven playing tricks on me? I'm so weak. Please, nurse, help me. And the nurse says something that really finishes the relationship between Juliet and the nurse. "Faith, here it is. Romeo is banished and all the world to nothing, that he dares never come back to challenge you, or if he do, it needs must be by stealth. Then, since the case so stands as now it does, I think it best you marry the county. Oh, he's a lovely gentleman." So, Romeo's banished, he can't come. If he does, he only can do it by sneaking in. That's a situation you should marry Paris then. He's lovely. Romeo's a dishclout to him. So Romeo's nothing. He's a dishcloth compared to him. "Hath not so green, so quick, so fair an eye as Parith has, beshrew my very heart. I think you are happy in this second match, for it excels you first, or if it did not, your first is dead, as 'twere as good he were, as living here, and you no use of him." So, look, Paris is a good man. I think this second marriage will make you happy. It's better than the first one. Romeo is as good as dead. He doesn't live here, so you get no use out of him. Juliet says, "Speakest thou from the heart? Are you telling me your honest advice?" And the nurse says, "And from my soul too, or else beshrew them both." "I am, yes," she says. Juliet says, "Amen, I agree." And the nurse says, "What?" And Juliet says, "Well, thou hast comforted me marvellous much. Go in and tell my lady I am gone, having displeased my father. To what, do you ask? To Lawrence's cell to make confession and to be absolved." So go and look. You're right, nurse. What you say is right. Tell my mum and dad I'm going to Friar Lawrence to confess because I've been disrespectful to my dad. And the nurse says, "Marry I will, and this is wisely done." So okay, and I think it's the best thing to do. Juliet says, "Ancient damnation, O most wicked fiend! Is it more sin to wish me thus forsworn, or dispraise my lord that with that same tongue which she hath praised him with above compare so many thousand times? Go, counsellor, thou and my bosom henceforth shall be twain. I'll to the friar to know his remedy. If all else fail, myself have power to die." So she's saying about the nurse, what an evil thing. She wants me to cheat on Romeo. The same tongue says that once praised him. "Nurse, I'll never tell you again my promises, my secrets, what's in my heart. I'm going to go to the friar to hear his advice, and if all else fails, I can always kill myself."